Alright, we're Team 8, and for our development proposal, first off we wanted to see what the reasoning for it is. The quality of life in Como, Lake District, and Fort Worth is kind of low, and the quality of schools is very low. So the RIVERTREE school vision was off of that. It's going to be a full functioning farm with a Christian school, a Christian environment. And you're going to teach our students to live well and excel academically and challenge to lead the community. So we're going to utilize natural light to improve student performance concentration, to learn well, focus on family unit and single family housing for that family unit, and that's going to utilize, enable students to love well, and then working well, functional farm that encourages working well. Leading well is emphasis on, again, house parents, and lead by example and character from that Christian school as well.
Okay, design-wise, we looked at the sun paths and everything, where we need to direct overhangs and windows. We also kind of connected each of the 4 mottos of the RIVERTREE Academy to kind of each building. So lead well with the staff and the residents, learn well from the school, love well from the church, and then work well from the farm. And this kind of shows the layout of where each building is laid. We wanted to put the school, the chapel, and the barn close together, since the barn would have the dining room, so it's close to the school for the kids. And also during school hours, they probably have some type of worship time. So we put the chapel near the school as well, and then separated the girls and the guys' residence and put the staff house separate from the students so they can have more private time. So here's the posters. Again, the site layout of it. Images of the chapel from the exterior, and then interior of the worship space, and it just has the worship offices, restrooms, and storage. It's pretty simple. And then the barn, you have this huge curtain wall to allow for natural lighting. Also, that it gives it kind of a modern feel to it. And then it just has a huge dining room for all the students, and it has kitchen area, offices, restrooms. And then the student housing, we kind of made them more of cottage type things, so they're individually separate from each other. There's 3 bedrooms, one for either married couple or intern, and then 2 bedrooms that house 4 students each. They're bunk beds. We wanted to keep it kind of like a community, so have a living room, kitchen, dining room. And then the school, and we made it kind of like a U shape, and this would be the outdoor space where they can interact and go from this side to this side. It's also covered in case of rain and if it's hot outside during the summer. And then for the staff housing, it has 3 bedrooms. So for the married couple that work there, and then 2 rooms for either their children, or if another staff family wants to live in there, there's accommodates for that. And then to tie each of the buildings together, we use stone siding and metal standing steel for each building for the roofs.
So the project will be developed in 5 phases over 9 years, from the August 2015 to February 2024. The school will be built from the phase 1 to phase 3, and we program building the 10 staff housing and the 20 student dorms through 5 phases to satisfy the expected enrollment. And the chapel and the red barn will be built in phase 1 and phase 4 respectively.
So total cost for this is going to be $16.1 million, with obviously the most expensive going to be the construction at $11.4, and then For activation, most of this is going to be marketed to already relationships built through Burn Ministries for the Como district specifically. And then also during activation, you'll need to hire faculty. And then for your operation budget, for phase 1, at the end of phase 1, you're going to need 1.1 million for operation, and then by the time you get to phase 5, you'll need 3.6 million. And that's at the end of each phase. And then this is the overall spreadsheet that I made for that. It's 3.64 million total. The salaries and management fees those are not faculty wages. Those are just operation and maintenance fees. For sociocultural value, the dorms are designed as single-family housing, so you have that family unit. So that's a social active that is going to bring out in the chapel and Christian focus as well. It encourages self-love environment as well. Economic value, you can rent out the barn and chapel for weddings. It would be increase the value for that asset for the RIVERTREE. And then also the orchard and farm could also be a tourist type attraction, whereas a lot of times when you travel somewhere, you can hit it to the orchard. It could be something like that. And then as well as the you have the multi-generational economic impact in teaching students and better quality education. Environmental, we're focused on natural lighting, reducing energy cost. Also didn't develop in the floodplain. So we reduced that cost as well. Working on the farm, the students being in part of nature would enable them to be stewards of the environment. Better aspect. Sensory value, again, natural lighting. Research has shown that natural lighting has improved student performance and concentration. So our natural lighting, we have a high emphasis on that as well. It also has reduced energy costs. Kind of the constraints of the land, you have the floodplain, it's an irregular shape, and easements, they all kind of restrict our site plan. So those are some of the constraints that we have on it. But it's also easily bounded, it's easy access. It's bounded on 3 sides of the main tract with streets. So that's something that we could play with as well. For labor, all of these things would be required to actually get the site up and running. Is you need your construction drawings and documents, and you also need to hire your contractors and marketing as well, and your facilities management folks. So the capital required to start each phase, for phase 1 you need 4.8 million, and then by the end of phase 1 you'll need. I'm assuming that this is going to be run off of an endowment fund at 5% interest, and that in order to get 5% annual interest to pay for your management fees, you're going to need 22.3 million to fund that after phase 1, and when it's all complete, you'll need 72.8 or 72.9 million. And that has concluded our presentation.